Welcome to the Material Database tutorial for C-Calc Pro 2, an app created for iPhones, iPads, and Macs. This is a long and thorough tutorial, so I have included links to the different sections of the video, so feel free to skip ahead to a specific section you may need help with. Now let's go ahead and open up the app. When you first download the app, you are given a default database to get you started. This database is static and does not update on its own. We suggest that you either update this database with your own pricing and labor rates, or you create a new database based on your own suppliers and location. If you are using the app to create estimates and quotations, then it is essential that the database be up to date with complete and accurate materials. Now let's take a look at how to add and delete materials. Be careful when deleting a material. This process is permanent and cannot be undone. Deletion is a two-step process to avoid accidental deletion. To delete a material, swipe left on the material and then press the red trash can button. To add a new material, press the Enter a New Title text field and enter the name for your material. Be as descriptive as possible so that you can easily recognize this material from the other estimation modules. Once you have a title for your new material, press the green plus button to add it to your database. At this point, you will need to edit your new material, as the default numbers will mostly be blank or 0. Keep watching this video to learn how to find and edit a material. You may have noticed when you swiped left to delete that you have two other options from this swipe action. The pin button will toggle a material as either pinned or not pinned. A pinned material will always display at the top of your material list, and an unpinned material will be alphabetically listed with all other materials. The heart or favorite button will toggle a material between being a favorite material and a normal material. A favorite material will be included, by default, into any estimate that corresponds to the material. For example, if you create a new drywall estimate, then any drywall material that is favorite will be included in that estimate. You will not be bound by favorite materials, however each estimate will allow you to add or remove whichever materials you desire. Be aware that all materials have an associated category and will only be visible from the estimates if they match the estimates category. For example, you cannot view or add concrete materials from a drywall estimate. To find materials in your database, you have two options, search and filter. To search, type any search text you like into the search bar, and results that contain that text will be displayed. The search is not case sensitive, so don't worry about capitalization. To filter your material list, press the category combo box and select a category from the list presented. You can combine filtering, searching, and pinning to quickly find what you need. Remember to clear your search text and reset your filter to all when you need to view all items in your database. To edit a material in your database, press on the material to present the edit screen for that material. Let's edit the 1/4 inch sheet of drywall we created earlier. The category of the material will determine which estimate modules will have access to the material. You can set the category to all if you want the material accessible by all the modules. This is not suggested, however, since the material list for each module will be very long and contain irrelevant materials. For this example, we will set the category to drywall. The subcategory can be set to area, distance, or volume, and depends on how you would typically use the material. For example, drywall or paint would be area materials, and concrete would be a volume material. The next section is the details section. The name is simply the display name of the material and is the same as what was entered when you originally added the material. Waste is a set percentage that will be added to the calculated material quantity of any estimate. You can set this to reflect material waste such as drywall end cuts or dropped screws. The Add by Default toggle switch is the same as the Favorite button that we reviewed earlier. If a material has this switch turned on, then it will be added, by default, to any estimate that matches its category. The next section is the dimensions section. Dimensions are edited by using the calculator to enter measurements. Press the dimension you want to edit, and the calculator will appear. You can then enter a dimension, calculate a dimension, or recall a dimension from the calculator memory or history. Once you press the Navigate Back button, the dimension will be entered into the appropriate field. All three dimensions of your material can be entered, however, depending on the subcategory of the material, all the dimensions may not be required. For example, an area-based material will not require a depth dimension. Calculated area and calculated volume are values that are being calculated by the app and cannot be directly edited. For many materials, you will not be entering the dimensions of the material itself, but of the coverage area or volume that the material will cover. We will go over this later in the tutorial. The next section is the cost section. Here, you will enter the cost of the material before any markup has been applied. You will want to make sure this value is being regularly updated to reflect the ever-changing market values of your materials. The next section is the labor section. Here, you will enter the amount of labor hours required to install the material. Decimal hours can be entered for materials requiring less than an hour to install. For example, enter 0.5 hours for 30 minutes, or 0.25 hours for 15 minutes. The labor cost cannot be directly edited, but is showing the labor cost that is set in the settings screen. For the final section of this tutorial, we will explore how to create materials that do not require a size. These materials instead require a coverage area. For example, screws, we don't care how large an individual screw is. We care about how much drywall a pail of screws can put up. So we supply a coverage area for our pail of screws. For example, 32 square feet of drywall may require 40 screws. So 1,000 screws will have a coverage area of 800 square feet. The app will not allow us to enter an area, so we must still enter a length and a width to obtain 800 square feet. There are numerous ways to do this. The easiest is simply to enter a length of 800 feet and a width of 1 foot. My preferred method is to use the square root of 800 square feet for both length and width. Many other materials will be similar to this technique, such as joint tape, drywall compound, mortar, and paint, to name a few. Thank you for watching this tutorial video. Taking the time to learn the app will greatly increase your ability to quickly and accurately calculate individual estimates, as well as full quotations. At this point, I would suggest either experimenting with the app and learning with a hands-on approach, or viewing more of our video tutorials. Remember that all the tutorials and manuals are accessible from the app's help screen. If you really stuck with something or you need to report an issue, our email link is also available from the help screen. My recommendation would be to view a few of the calculator tutorials, particularly the dimension entry video to learn how to work with imperial and metric dimensions, and the scaling drawings video. If you work on large drawing sets, the scaling feature of the calculator will be a valuable tool to quickly take off large quantities of material. Once again, thank you for watching and have a great day.